take kind of a big picture look at it. We've arranged the districts naturally this way. This is
Hi, everybody. Suzanne Stratford, Fox 8 News, coming to you from Mr. Anthony's in Boardman, Ohio, here in Mahoning County. This is the Congressman Tim Ryan watch party, and we're getting some results back right now. And currently, right now, the Congressman is ahead of his competitor, J.D. Vance, right now, so the crowd a little bit excited here. We can show you the scene here. There are hundreds of people, pollsters, volunteers, all gathering here for this watch party. The doors opened at 7:30. People began showing up. We've heard some live music. Right now, they're just going over some of the most recent updates. Everybody very excited, hoping that the congressman is going to indeed win this spot in the U.S. Senate. He's represented this area for 20 years, and now moving on, hoping to represent the entire state. Now, it has been an extremely tight race, as you know, just within a few points going in either direction. So in the recent weeks, really, Congressman Tim Ryan has been reaching out and trying to sort of distance himself from any radical views, but then also welcome in, like many people on the right and Republicans, trying to really connect the two and saying that he is a person that can represent and unify both Democrats and Republicans here in the state. Now, it's kind of interesting, this location. We're here in Boardman, Ohio, because this is where former Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar is from, and he gave him an endorsement, as well as did a number of unions, local unions, including the AFL-CIO. So he did get, I think, something like 30-plus unions backed him, endorsed him for this race. He says that he is the right person, that he supports a strong economy, and he definitely wants to be a unifier, he says, with both parties, and to stop sort of the fighting, and wants to do what's best for Ohio workers. You see it all over the signage here, talking about the Ohio workers, Ohio workers. He says that is really a priority for him, you know, especially coming from Northeast Ohio, that's been hit so hard. When you talk about, you know, especially here, this is the steel belt that turned into the rust belt. You know, the steel industry left, you know, the auto industry left. You know, there's just been a lot of hits here in this area. So, but he has maintained support in this area and is trying to, you know, push for fair trade. He's talked a lot about that on the campaign trail. Speaking of which, he said he wanted to touch and visit all 88 counties while he was campaigning, and he did that. In fact, even today, he was out campaigning. He voted early this morning in Niles. That's where he's from. That's where he lives with his wife and 3 kids. He voted there earlier, and then he went to Cleveland for an event with Mayor Justin Bibb. They had that event. Then they were out stumping, even knocking on doors. In some videos, we saw them look like they were delivering pizza. I'm not quite sure, but there was something going on. So he was knocking on doors, went to Akron, went to Kent, and then we are expecting him, obviously, a little bit later as the, you know, more results come in. It's kind of early in the night, but it could be a long night, as you know, because they've been so close. This race has been so close in the polls, so just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Something else that's kind of interesting here about Mr. Anthony's, since I'm from this area, you know, this is sort of the place where a lot of big political parties have been held over the years, including, you know, the legendary Congressman Jim Traficant. Well, of course, you know, Tim Ryan took Congressman Traficant's place. He replaced him in Congress 20 years ago, and he actually worked for the congressman, the late congressman. He actually worked as an aide in his office, so I'm not sure if this is a sort of full circle moment, if that will be that for Congressman Tim Ryan or not, but definitely there's a strong energy. A lot of people anxious here to see exactly how this will turn out. Did he do enough? You know, some people said, you know, he was walking this fine line, that he may have upset people on the left, he may have upset people on the right, because he was trying to show that, you know, that he is his own person and he's independent and is just really all about Ohio and fighting for Ohioans. So that's where things stand right now. Just a lot of 80s fabulous music going on for the last hour or so, and some original music too here, and always great food if you're here at Mr. Anthony's. You know, we're not getting paid for that plug, but it happens to be true. Here in the Youngstown area, it's known for their great food. So that's what's going on here. We'll just be watching those polls return in this very close race, but it looks like it could be a nail biter, could be down to the wire, but everybody absolutely hoping that we'll know who in fact will win this seat, replacing retiring Senator Rob Portman. Everybody's wondering who's going to take that. Will it be Tim Ryan? We'll just have to wait and see. In Mahoning County, in Boardman, Ohio, Suzanne Stratford, Fox 8 News.
This would be news down here, and if this is a Republican incumbent, Steve Chabot,